All right, Tone, we have another movie review. This is one that I wanted to see when it came out in theaters. Nell Tiger Free, that is her name. She was in Servant. She was the main antagonist, I guess you could call her.
She was a servant.
She was a servant, but she was very creepy in that show. I knew she was a very talented actress in that show. I thought she was really good in this movie. But this is the first Omen, and this takes place like a couple of months, maybe like a month or two before the original Omen from 1976, starring Gregory Peck, begins. This leads right into the original, The Omen. Nell Tiger Free, she plays Margaret. She's like an American woman who is sent to Rome to begin a life of service to the church, but encounters a darkness that causes her to question her faith and uncovers a terrifying conspiracy that hopes to bring about the birth of evil incarnate.
The Antichrist.
The Antichrist. This is directed by Arkasha Stevenson. This is her film debut, starring Nell Tiger Free, Ralph. What's that?
That's her film debut?
Her first film. She did like some shorts and like some, I think she did a TV episode, but this is her big first movie debut.
Fair enough.
Ralph Ineson, who actually, he was Father Brennan with the deep voice. I think he just got cast in MCU.
Yeah, he was in Diablo too. He played the main.
That's right.
He was
That's
Diablo.
right.
He's been in Game of Thrones. He was in the Willow Show. Blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah.
and he just got cast in the MCU for something.
Cool.
So,
Okay.
Not really sure what his role is going to be, but like, look, man, like I am a huge fan of The Omen from 1976. It's one of the first horror films my mom showed me. She's like, you got to watch this. And I remember, like, the thing I liked about The Omen compared to the other horror movies that I watched growing up is The Omen didn't rely on jump scares. One of the first horror films I saw that was more relying on let's be fucking creepy and let's do some creepy imagery as well. So, like, make you uneasy, make you unsure of what's going on, who to trust, like, you know, what's really going on, how evil are we going to get here? And the thing that I like about the first Omen is it basically does a fantastic job at honoring that of the first film and modernizing it in certain ways. I mean, there are a couple of jump scares here and there, but by all accounts, this movie has some really fucked up imagery.
Fucking A does.
Like, this is one of the first films I've seen, one of the first films I've seen in a while that really kind of like showcases childbirth in a very horrific way.
And you get to see some stuff you didn't expect to see.
There's a couple scenes where you're just like, whoa, we're going here.
Yeah, I was watching Pantsless, but whatever.
There are some very demonic, very just unsettling scenes that they don't shy away from. There's no room for interpretation. You are getting everything that you want to see right then and there. There's no confusion about what's going on. Like, you get it right there. Childbirth is horrific in general, so you have my dude like Brian. There are a couple scenes, man, where you're going to be like, what the fuck is going on with this show? But again, that's what The Omen is. It's not about jump scares. It is about how fucking weird is shit gonna get. You're dealing with Satan. You're dealing with demonic stuff. It gets fucking dark and twisted really fast. Now, Nell Tiger Free, again, she was awesome in The Servant, and she does a great job in this movie. She's really good at kind of like dealing with this dread as she kind of like slowly creeps into madness.
Yeah.
But man, the final act, she has a scene outside of a car where I was just like, oh, she going cray-cray in this movie. Like she does a really good job through the whole movie. Like, you really understand that she's dealing with a lot. She's trying to figure things out. But there was a scene towards the end of the movie that I was just like, how did she come up with this? I mean, it's not just like you can tell this is something she put a lot of thought into coming up with this scene. And it is fucking, again, another weird childbirth scene that gets really dark really fucking fast. But like, so she carries the movie. She does a really good job. The supporting cast is really good. But it just, like, again, I just love a horror film that relies on creepiness and imagery.
Yeah, because you're a bitch and you jump everything.
I do jump, but I mean, like I said, she could have gone this way.
That's an easy way to get people. That's
a cop out.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a cop out. And like, when you sit there and make an Omen movie, I feel like it would be even more of a disservice if you're like, well, we're going to go for jump scares now.
Yeah.
We're not going to stick. Dude, she sticks to her guns and is very very respectful of the first movie and even the second and third, which weren't terribly great. she does a great job at capturing the essence and feel of the original Omen. And I thought this movie was fucking sweet. And like the other thing that's awesome are the way that it connects the dots with several of the characters in this movie who do make an appearance in the Omen. They do a great job of connecting those dots. There are some liberties taken. There are some tweaks that they made. There's one specific change that they made that will definitely, if you watch this and then watch the second one, you're going to be like, well, wait, or if you watch the original one, you're going to be like, well, that part doesn't make sense. But I understand why they made that change because, one, it opens up the doors for a sequel, for them to kind of continue this story because the Omen focuses on Damien. And in this movie, there's something else that happens that allows them to kind of explore a different path, so to speak. And second of all, they tweak some things because they just want it to be even more fucking sadistic than what it was in the Omen. The changes that they make are very sadistic, and like the reason that the Antichrist is being brought upon has been kind of like more focused this time around. There's more of a reason, and it's very dark and sadistic.
Yeah.
And then also the process of how the Antichrist is conceived is really fucking dark. A lot darker than what is shown or explained in the first one. So, I mean, they do a really good job at, like, capturing the essence of the first one, but also modernizing it and adding some real sick, twisted shit to it, but also leaving the door open for a sequel.
If you're a real sick fuck, this movie has a lot of potential to be jerking off, dude.
It sounds like Britt liked it. You enjoyed it?
Yeah, so I've never seen the first
You need
Omen.
to make that a happen.
Okay. And I'm familiar with Damien because when what was spoken was "it's all for you," I'm like, oh, that's pretty neat. I know where that reference is from. But yeah, I've never seen it. You know, for me, when it comes to horror, like I don't really get down on demonic stuff or ghost shit because that stuff doesn't creep me out usually.
Mm-hmm.
This movie, I don't want to say. There was moments where I think I definitely was like, oh, that is pretty creepy. Like I just don't initially get creepy like that. But I can't believe, first of all, that this is the director's first time doing it.
Oh yeah.
Like, holy fuck! If this is her first time doing a movie, then we're in for some treats going forward. I hope because
she's got a
this
firm
is a
grip
great.
on
This
it.
is a great fucking start.
Yeah.
And yeah, the lead actress here, like, I'm still surprised to even hear that she's only been in a servant is like that because she did a great job carrying this. Now, granted, she had some great people around her, but she had to carry most of the scenes herself alone and be able to wear different emotions and go through a different.
She's got that range. She's got range.
I was really impressed by that. So no, at the end of the day, I really don't have a whole lot to like say opposite of you. I agree. I think everything you said is kind of spot on. I thought this movie was dark. The lighting, like in certain at times, it'll get darker. Like how they lit the things, I really appreciate like the candlelight and stuff like that because it played with the shadows really well too. The story, the setup, like how it was going, like again, I'm not familiar with the series, but like you said how they kind of like how sadistic it was because why they're trying to have this happen or the Antichrist, it kind of to me like makes sense in my head. I'm like that's a neat fucking reason that kind of works. Like so and then like everything leading up to that as well too that was hidden in a fucking filing cabinet, like that's fucking cool too. So overall I was again I'm hard to please when it comes to these type of movies, so I probably didn't like it as much as you two just because of my nature and my likes. But no, I would actually tell people you should watch this if you like The Omen, or even if you don't, this is worth the watch. It was really cool. Like I'm really impressed and probably appreciate it more now hearing the things that I just didn't realize originally was that this is the director's first film and her first big movie like this. So yeah, pretty awesome. This is pretty cool.
What's up, Brady? It's Brady, bitch.
Brady, bitch.
It's Brady, bitch. Brian asked, would you say it's just the shock value for the sake of shock value? No, it adds value to the story. It creates it really drives home just how fucking sadistic and like how dark that this really is. Like the original Omen touched on some pretty dark themes.
Yeah.
But like they really like amp it up. It's not for shock value. It's just to add to the severity of the
depth
situation.
Of the story, it's that. Yeah, because I could see that being a thing, just like cheap jump thrills, like cheap shock value. It's just actually pretty well written. Like it's a dope movie. Like I said, if you guys get a chance, like I would actually watch the Omen first with Gregory Peck. Watch the original Omen first. And then go back and watch the prequel because, like I said, they connect some dots, and then you'll understand. It'll be easier to understand like the change that they made. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you were to watch the prequel first, and then watch the sequel, you're gonna be like, or watch the original, you're gonna be like, well, wait a minute,
no, why did that? 'Cause if you go back and watch it the other way, you'll understand why they're doing what they're doing to open things up for a sequel and to make it a little bit darker, which I think is good to hear.
Which is how you're supposed to watch Star Wars. You do 4, 5, 6, then go 1, 2, 3.
See, she understands. See, the director's probably a Star Wars fan. She's like, you know what? We'll do things differently here.
Well, if she does shit like this, let's get her doing a Sith thing on Star Wars. Then.
But we want to get you guys and girls' thoughts. I know the first Omen, it didn't I know it didn't do terrible, but it wasn't like a huge release. 'Cause I think a lot of people, again, it's that whole prequel thing. Like, oh, it's a prequel.
Yeah.
There's no big names in it. Is this going to be any good? But the reviews started being really good, and then more importantly, the word of mouth around it was very. Excuse me. Whoa, mid burp. The word of mouth around it was very strong from audiences, and then when this thing dropped on digital last week, social media, like people were really talking about, like, oh my god, this movie is fucking crazy. It is really good. Well, we would love to get you guys and girls' thoughts about it. Let us know in the comments if you're watching on YouTube or listening on iTunes or Spotify. Let us know your thoughts on the first Omen. How do you think it stacks up? And if you've seen the original Omen, how do you think it fares in terms of the story? Brady says, still handsome. I know, man. I can't help it. I was just born this way. You know, it's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing and a curse.
You say so.